The one thing this pandemic has done has allowed us to spend more time with our pets, and we want to make sure our pets stay healthy, which is why we spoke with veterinarian Susan Little to find out a little bit more about what they found when it came to parasites. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now let's talk about parasites in different regions. Do you notice a difference?
One thing that was really striking about this study is that we found parasites in dogs all over the US. I will say that Florida had the highest prevalence of anywhere in the country, but we certainly saw a high rate of parasite infection in dogs everywhere. And in fact, 1 in 5 dogs coming to dog parks is infected with parasites.
And what parasites were the most common that you guys found in your study?
Most commonly, we found hookworms and whipworms, and those are parasites that are entirely preventable with monthly parasite control as recommended by veterinarians across the US. We also found a lot of Giardia infections in dogs.
Now, dogs are definitely an extension of our families. I know mine is. Are there any symptoms that we can be looking for if a dog did contract a parasite?
Dogs with parasites will often develop diarrhea, they might have weight loss, they might develop anemia. But interestingly, a lot of dogs infected with parasites, especially at first, appear clinically normal. And so the owner wouldn't know that there was a parasite infection. And that's why veterinarians recommend that all dogs be screened for parasites at their annual physical exam and all dogs be maintained on monthly parasite control year round. It's so important because we don't always know they're infected until they've already developed disease and then it's too late.
Absolutely. So, what advice would you give pet owners for what they could do today to prevent, parasite contractions as well as protect their dog's intestinal health?
The most important thing is to have that close relationship with your veterinarian and be sure you're following her recommendations on parasite control and overall health of the dogs. And veterinarians everywhere do recommend monthly parasite control to keep the hookworm, whipworm, and roundworm infections at a minimal level. We know dogs are going to go out in the world, they're going to enjoy the dog park, they're going to enjoy their daily walk, and we want them to be able to do that. But as they go and make their way in the world and visit areas other dogs have been, they're likely to become infected with parasites. And so that's why it's every dog, every month, all year long.
That's great information. And can you touch on very briefly? I know you're talking about monthly preventative care. How important is that really for a dog's health?
Monthly parasite control is critically important for a dog's health. We really want to make sure that they're maintained free of those parasites because of the blood loss that can develop, because of the damage to the intestinal tract, and also because the parasite infections in dogs create a risk for infection in people. So they're potentially zoonotic. So some of those worms, if a person were to ingest soil that had the eggs in them or their skin comes in contact with the larvae in the soil, we can become infected. And so keeping dogs on parasite control protects their health, but it also protects the health of the entire family.
Definitely some great information for all pet owners to keep in mind. Do you have a place for viewers to go learn more?
There's a great website, bewormready.com, and it has information on intestinal parasite control and even controlling things like heartworm, all the worms that we're worried about in our pets.
Thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it.
Thanks, Hattie.
You can always find this segment and more on our website at firstcoastliving.net.